Hello everybody and welcome to Inside the Tape Day here in Leogang. It's qualifying day and what I'd like to do, take you into the mind of the Leogang racetrack. It's a very messy mind, it's a bit confused, doesn't know where it's going. It's a messy mind. But let's take you into it and we'll start at the top as you should do. So in the start gate, the wonderful start gate with the huge mountain range behind it. But when you're in the start gate, what you're staring at is that huge steep start ramp into the first compression, and there's a sick little scrub jump which is just really fun to ride actually. It's a really cool feature, and straight into a 90-degree right-hander berm, fresh open section. There were several lines here. Some lines have been used, abused, destroyed and discarded. Most people are going down the middle, which is the kind of main line down this section. It's got massive, really deep ruts that have been scooped out, so they're like it's almost like a pump track that you have to pump the bike through. Very narrow because the ruts have dug in super deep. So you've got to be super good with your balance, good with your eyes, not going too fast. When this main line started getting really scooped out and chopped out, people started trying a higher line on the grass and holding it high all the way along the tape. But once at least 10 riders have gone down it, ruts start to dig in. So that high line, you could stay high all the way along, which was very tricky to do. Had to be quite delicate with the brakes, very precise with your balance. But there was also an option to hit the first part of that high line, then go off camber and then catch the lower main line. At the end of that, you got to a very, very tricky turn, a super tight left-hander. On the live feed, you cannot tell how tight this is. So you cross the road and go into some lovely bike parky berms. I mean, well, they probably were before we started racing on them. After you go around those few corners, you get into the first kind of long, fast section with some jumps. So there's lots of little rollers that you can triple, single, double, you can kind of do what you want. Big step down, and then you hit hard on the brakes because they put in a tricky bus stop. Down, bike parky berm, big wide open line choice, you can inside it or you can hit the bank. Rider's choice down there. Then you go through the tunnel. It's a blind drop with a slight turn that you come into really quick. It's really easy to actually overbrake or not brake enough and go too far and too wide on the exit of it. Down, little gap, and then into a really chewed out, really brake and bump section. Super rough. You can play about with your lines a little bit to try and get out the holes. But then there's a nice supporter corner at the bottom that again has a massive hole in it. Then slight uphill, which when it was windy was actually quite hard to actually get up and over. And there's a gap into the corner, which if you're going fast, it is a gap. When not, you kind of dribble over it. Big right hand berm, jump, big berm, through another tunnel. If you go too wide in it, you clip the edge of the tunnel and your front wheel slips and you crap your pants a little bit. Did that on my qualifying run. Then down, slight right-hander, some more kind of like crests, nothing too technical, but then shit gets real. And it gets really, really real. So you go over this blind crest and into the first stump section. So this stump section is getting, for me, hard to ride. Like genuinely just hard to ride. So there's huge holes on the way in that you want to let the bike skip over. You can't go too slow. If you slow down too much, your wheels start dropping into the holes. So you got to keep the speed going, skip over the top of them, slight right-hander, and then you've got a little choice here. You can go low of the stump and hope that your tires grip, or you can jump over the stump and straight into that next section. Then there's a drop main line that just turned into the biggest hole you've ever seen. And this is a theme. There's a lot of holes on this track. Or there was a high line on the right on the grass. You come out of that section, if you got through there, you're doing well. Small gap, few crests that it's actually really hard to go really quickly through because you can jump too far and start hitting up slopes. Set up wide for the next turn, and then you go into the famous stump section that everyone films at. I used to film with it because it's really hard. But you want to get this section nice. It's not as critical as it has been in the past in terms of carrying speed, because the exit is actually a lot better than it has been in the past. So you just want to get clean through there and then get on the gas onto that motorway. Nice big tabletops. It's very hard to not go too high on these, and the landings are steeper than they used to be as well. So getting that sweet backside is actually quite tricky to do. So down through there, another tunnel. Flying now, rail around that berm. The tabletops that used to be too short and everyone was going to flat on, much longer now, so people will be super chill over those. Then you go into the famous scrub table bridge jump, which is actually very, very hard to get the backside as well. It's really easy to go too far on. Oh yeah, little river gap, down, a few little innocuous jumps. That the next few jumps are a lot chiller than they used to be, so we shouldn't see Thibaut Deprella doing some weird triple transfer near-death experience. Nice and easy through this section. Huge famous Leogang wall ride. The G-forces in this thing are insane. And you jump off the main track towards the famous Leogang woods. The entrance to this woods is actually extremely difficult. Nasty blind gap you've got to do and land on a carpet of roots and a load of slime, and it's slightly off camber. And then you hit a bit of bridge, little breath, because then it gets even worse. Roots everywhere. Most riders are trying to stay high, come around the left-hander, and then inside the next corner, down into the next section. There's a couple options. The main line that most people are doing is just following the rut. Some people are going high and tackling the slippy roots, but it gives you a straighter run out into the wood before this super steep section. Steepest section of the track. Left line, two big drops with big holes. You're literally just trying to not go too fast down it. If you go too fast, you're just going to start taking off, bouncing, and you're going to end up in that netting. The high line, which is the one the really top riders, skilled riders are on, you jump over the root to get up onto it, and you have to be so delicate with the brakes. And then the tracks converge again, and you traverse across the hill and get into what I now think is the most difficult part of the track. Getting sticky. It's been super wet on the lead up to the race, but the rain's kind of mellowed out as the event's gone on. And the dirt in there is just not getting the moisture to kind of keep it loose and keep it running fast, and it's just getting sticky in there. If you get offline and into the soft stuff, it's like someone's just pulled your brakes on. You slow down, the wheels clog up, and there's just not much you can do. Where there's roots, all the dirt's getting dug out from the back sides of them, and honestly, if you try and go slow, you can't do it. They're so big that you just drop into them and you're just going to flip over the bars, which many people do. Then you get to a very critical corner, which is the right-hander before the big gap. The holes in this are colossal, super hard. A lot of riders are struggling to get this corner clean, and you need to get it clean if you want to do the big gap into the open, because you want to come out of that corner and then just get on the gas immediately. That sticky mud all the way up to the jump is just stealing speed as you crank all the way up to the edge and pull for that gap. A lot of people haven't made it. A lot of people have had bad crashes. And a lot of people have broken bikes on it. It's a keen feature. And the reason people are going for it is because the way round is a lot slower. So yeah, it's a scary feature, real scary. And I'm happy to admit, I didn't try it on my quali run. I was so tired, I was like, I'm going to kill myself. So I was like, oh, I'm okay actually, and just went round. And that was just, for me, that was the smart decision for me to make. Out of there, scrub over the next jump, nice little pull up onto the old track, and then you get to the last two tricky turns. These are getting pretty chopped out. They're very hard to get really precise and fast. Big long fast straight to the finish, little jump through the tunnel. Some will speed tuck, some will be sprinting. Huge tabletop. Pull for the jump if you're going too slow, scrub it if you're going fast, and down through the finish to complete a run at Leogang. And what a run. If you get down that clean, fair play. And you may be wondering, oh, we didn't do any cool ghosty bits. Well, let's take you back up to the top, because we're going to look at that first straight, because it was exciting in the morning. There were different things happening, so let's check it out. And this is it. We have AMAURY PIERRON. He is on the original low line, steering his way down, swerving about down that classic line. And then we've got MEIER-SMITH. He does the high and then middle onto that original low line. We're going to call that the middle line. And here we go. This is it. The expensive software with the magical comparison. And it's dartfish. No, it turns out having a slightly misty hill confuses the software. Sad. Right. Well, let's get on to the cheaper version. Sidefish. And then they're coming into the section, and look at this. So they're both looking pretty side by side, and it's nice and even, but Luke is on that high line. It's nice and direct. AMAURY has to do this tighter corner. He has to slow up for it, and you can see that Luke is already ahead. He's already ahead, and coming up to the finish line, that high line to the middle, 0.29 faster. Very nice. Next up, we have the American. We've got GWIN. He is on that lower line. Let's see if he can make it work any better than PIERRON. Look nice and clean through there. And we're going to compare him to Lucas Shaw. And he is on that higher line. Does he stay high all the way? He does. He's on the full high all the way along on that slippy grass. Looked super good, but let's compare. Coming out the corner, you can see Aaron goes nice and low into those braking bumps, chopping through them. That higher line's so much smoother at the start. And Luca is looking like he's a little bit in front. He's a little bit in front, but he has to go delicate along that high line as Aaron can just plow through those scooping ruts. Man, that higher line is doing it. 0.4 to Lucas Shaw. Now we have a very special matchup. We have Loris Vergier. He's on that high line, down through the middle and catching that low one. And he's against Boris Vergier. And here comes Boris. He's onto that low line, but that was clean. That was fast in. That was smooth. And this is it, the matchup of the century. Here comes Boris and Loris flying into this section. And Boris, on that lower line, he just charged into those braking bumps. Sent it through. It seems like Loris was maybe coming in a little bit too delicately into that high line. Boris is motoring ahead. He's see you later, cousin. I'm heading down to this finish and I'm going to take it by 0.04. It is close though. And it was the entrance speed that decided it. And now we have KADE Edwards, Mr. Freestyle himself. He's getting the high line super quick. Really clean. Nice and aggressive. And he's going to be against, Phil Atwell. We have got the two most loose guys on the hill, and Phil holds it fully high. Oh, little kick out. So this is it. No tricks from the guys this run. They are going to come into this section, and Phil's actually looking a little bit in front. He's a tiny bit in front of KADE. You can see he drops into that section first. They both hit this rut. Phil swings high onto the off camber, holding it clean up onto that high line. KADE just heading straight down into the rut. He catches the rut. Phil slips. And KADE takes it by 0.53, and he was the fastest man through this section on that high to middle line. And that's it for Inside the Tape in Leogang. For me, one of the hardest tracks I've ever had to ride, to be honest. I really found it very challenging just to get cleanly down. It is definitely a World Cup track through and through. There are some bits that safety-wise are questionable, but I don't think you can blame anyone because the conditions have just been super challenging. Is it more challenging than World Champs was? Some think so. But anyway, I would tune into the race because no doubt it's going to be exciting. The track is going to be drying out according to the forecast, so that woods bit might even be even worse come race day. I'm excited to watch it because I'm not racing it. Didn't qualify. Sad. Sad. Kinda glad I don't have to race. Yeah. We will have a video story of the race from race day. I imagine there will be a lot of them. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. In a bit.